I wanted to start our week about birds looking at some museum specimens. We call these ones here study skins. They are birds that have been skinned and mounted in such a way that they fit neatly in a drawer. For example, this mourning dove, the wings have been folded down very flat. Everything is very compact, so many of them can fit in a drawer. They all have a little card with details about where the bird was found, when it was turned into a specimen, and some of the original measurements of the bird before it was mounted this way. And that's because over time certain colors change. We remove all the soft tissue, so you lose the color of the eye, which can sometimes be important. You can really see how the crop sticks out on this one, which is interesting. These are done by students, so they're not perfect. Everyone is learning, but they're still good enough to see a lot of the interesting parts of a bird. So this is a mourning dove. This is very similar to the pigeon I will dissect later. Have a beak, head, neck. This neck has been sort of bent a little bit. We have both wings that are flat against the body. Long tail, and you can see where the tail meets the body, there is a gland underneath these feathers called the uropygial gland that birds use to keep their feathers waterproof. Here's another specimen with card attached. This is a little Whet Owl. So this bird is a hunter. Its eyes are forward facing, much more so than our mourning dove. It has more of a talon like beak, and owls have a particular adaptation to being quiet, so they have very fuzzy feathers with serrations for breaking up air currents, and a lot of owls have feathers all the way down their feet to help with that air current disruption. Again, not a perfect mounting, but a really good example. These specimens have been donated to the university. When birds are found from window strikes or other reasons, they get donated. This is a ruffed grouse that has been mounted in a kind of a weird way, where its hips have been splayed out oddly, and its wings are pulled in oddly. You can see on the grouse the feet are not feathered. They have their eyes on the side for better, more complete 360 vision. They don't need the binocular quite as much as a hunter. And their feathers are very good at blending. This mottled changing of colors blends into the mottled forest very well. Their beak is a generalist beak. They eat a lot of seeds, but also a lot of just general plant matter. A lot of balsam fir needles in the winter. I also have a couple of wing specimens. So this is just the wing of a duck. It's really neat to see because many duck species have this speculum, this iridescent patch in their wing, which helps you ID certain bird species. For example, mallards and black ducks. Black ducks are lacking any color. But you can see these smaller feathers up here and then the long flight feathers. This is a great example to see all the different flight feathers of a bird. You have your primaries and then your secondaries, and we tell which is which based on what bone they're attached to. They're actually, the primaries and secondaries are attached to the finger bones in the wing. And there's no muscle in here, it's just held together with ligaments. Like our fingers don't have muscle, it's all ligaments and tendons. You can also see here, when you look on this side, this one feather is smaller than the others. Most bird species lose wing feathers in pairs, so they'll lose one on this side and one on the other side, and regrow them so that they can still keep flying. They're just usually losing one feather at a time. So if you look on this side, this is the new feather coming up. Oh no. And this one just fell out. If you look on this side, you can see this new feather coming out, and you can see another one. It's got a casing here. It's only just growing, and it will probably replace this one, will probably drop off very soon if the bird was still alive, and then this one would grow to replace it. This little tiny one up here is the alula feather, so it's attached to the thumb instead of one of the fingers. So those are the main flight feathers. And they have coverlets on top that you can see as well. Wing feathers are different than tail feathers. Frequently the wing feather, especially on the primaries, the leading edge is shorter, making it more aerodynamic. The last wing is an owl wing. So again, you can see those primaries and secondaries. Secondaries, the leading edge isn't quite as narrow as the primaries, and the coverlets. But I wanted to show you up close the serrated edges of an owl feather that helps break up the air disturbances, which muffles the sound. Owl feathers also are very, very soft. They're covered in tiny, tiny little, I want to call them hairs, but they're not hairs, that allow more air disturbance. It's all about breaking up the air and muffling the sound. It's some of the reasons why owls are so silent. And that concludes our museum walkthrough for today.